Hello. This is my hand. Ooh, hand. It's 3D. 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 Okay, that's annoying. Um, there are two things I want to talk about today. One, 3D. John Cena's character, which surprisingly I haven't discussed yet. John Cena. It's really, really weird. And then I'll talk about the other thing a little bit later, which are the old 900 numbers that you could call to talk to wrestlers. 3D! 3D! I'm be doing that the whole time. 3D! See, it's like my hand is coming right for you. It's unbelievable. Okay. I'm fucking the camera up by doing that. Oh. Um. Now with John Cena, I don't know him in person because I live in Ohio and make crappy wrestling videos. But he seems like a nice guy. I mean, he does a bunch of charity work. He does a bunch of interviews. He works out constantly. He's come back from many, many injuries, which he will come back early from many, many injuries, which he will later regret in life when he starts walking like Hulk Hogan. So yeah, I like him. I mean, he's dedicated. He puts the time in. So in real life, he seems like a good guy. The problem is not that we hate him in real life and don't respect what he's done. It's that his character is the ultimate Boy Scout character, which has been used over and over and over again. Half the time it's worked, half the time it hasn't. I mean, the first ultimate Boy Scout character I can think of was Bob Backlund. Now, Bob Backlund was a very boring character. He was good in the ring, but he was a very boring character because he was that Boy Scout. And he looked like Howdy Doody. So he was a Howdy Doody Boy Scout, which is even worse than a normal Boy Scout. You gotta be special to be a Howdy Doody Boy Scout. And the fans, after like a year, started booing him when he had the title because they were bored by watching Howdy Doody start fires in the ring and teach his enemies to sew. So then we had Hulk Hogan come in. And Hulk Hogan was kind of a Boy Scout. I mean, he told us to say our vitamins and take our prayers and use steroids. But he'd also get mad at his enemies and get real intense and talk about ripping their heads off and pissing down their throats and throwing them onto pits of spikes. So it was interesting because, like, hey, this guy actually feels anger, though he's a Boy Scout and actually had a couple moves where he cheats, which was the eye rake and the atomic drop and the he had another move too where it technically it was a heel move, but he did it. Oh, the 10 count, the 10 punch in the corner, which were technically heel moves, but he was so over, I think he could have dropped their pants and cut their nuts off and people would have still cheered. And people got bored with him after a while. And so then we got Bret Hart, who was another Boy Scout type character. And it was worse than Hogan because he didn't get that mad that often. So he always talked about respecting his opponents and stuff. And it worked for Bret because Bret's talking is not what got Bret over. Bret's wrestling is what got Bret over. Because Bret was not a great talker. And then we had Rocky Maivia in that character, which was the early Rock. And he got booed out of just about every match he was in before he turned heel. Then we had... There's another one. but I can't remember who it was who had the Boy Scout character. But yeah, then finally we have John Cena as it. And it's a bad character. Every other time was a face who eventually got booed out of the building for being the boring Boy Scout type character. So it's another one of those things of WWF looking back on their failures and saying, oh, this could work, let's just try it again and again and again, until people go crazy and burn down Titan headquarters, and then they go out and try to kill John Cena, and the cops show up, and someone has a nuke, and it all ends with the entire eastern seaboard being obliterated by radiation. So yeah, I hate his character, but I respect the man, and it's a character that's been tried time and time again and just doesn't work. The other thing was the old 900 numbers, because I've been watching a lot of old WWF stuff from the 90s and WCW stuff, and both companies had a 900 number where you could call and talk to wrestlers. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's just it. That's kind of cool. So I think they should bring that back. I mean, I'd call them. I'd waste some money. I can waste like $20 talking to somebody. But yeah, I don't know why they stopped doing those. I know WWF, when they stopped that, they'd go to chatting on AOL, which I'm showing my age here because I remember that, and it was when AOL was very, very popular, like early and mid 90s. So yeah, I want to see the 900 numbers come back. I want to totally talk to wrestlers and like insult them. Tell John Cena he looks like a diaper. I don't know. But that would be cool. I miss those. And one of these days, I'm going to pull up my cell phone when I'm watching and going to dial the number, just to see if it leads to anything else. But it even says on the bottom, number no longer in service. So yeah, that was an interesting idea. I thought they should have kept, but they didn't. But I think it should be brought back again, because it was cool. And John Cena, I don't hate the man, I hate the character. And you gotta hate WWF for recycling that character, even though people, 9 times out of 10, people have hated that Boy Scout character. And yeah, they keep bringing it back. So yeah.